You know, when the world was on the brink and really needed a miracle, science delivered one. The incredibly fast development of the COVID-19 vaccine, that wasn't just a medical breakthrough. It was one of the single greatest problem-solving achievements in all of human history. So how did our minds even pull that off? To get it, we need to take a look under the hood at the amazing cognitive tools we all have. I mean, it's hard to forget, right? Back in early 2020, this novel coronavirus just brought the entire world to a grinding halt. The challenge was absolutely immense. Create a safe, effective vaccine faster than anyone had ever done before. And here's the part that just blows my mind. After the virus's DNA sequence was published online, it took the scientists at Moderna just 2 days to design their vaccine. Let that sink in. 2 days. Now, obviously, this wasn't magic. It was the result of decades of research that was just sitting there ready to go. That kind of speed just makes you wonder, how is the human mind even capable of a feat like that? Well, the answer lies in this amazing toolkit we all share, our ability to think, our intelligence, and our absolute superpower, language. Okay, so let's start with the first tool, thinking itself. The best way to picture it is as the software that's running on the hardware of your brain. It's basically the set of programs we use to solve problems, from the huge ones to the everyday ones. This computer analogy is actually a perfect way to get it. Your brain, that's the physical machine, right? The hardware. But your thoughts, your memories, your problem-solving strategies, that's the incredibly powerful software. It's the code that crunches all the data and spits out solutions. Now, what's really cool is how this mental software actually solves problems. We've basically got two main strategies. First, you've got algorithms. These are slow, they're methodical. Think of trying every single possible letter combination in a game of Scrabble. Yeah, it'll guarantee you find the best word, but who has time for that? That's why we mostly rely on heuristics. These are quick mental shortcuts. In Scrabble, your brain just knows that a Q almost always needs a U. It's not a guarantee, but it gets you to a pretty good solution way, way faster. But just like any software, our minds have some common bugs. And a really big one is fixation. Let's try a classic puzzle. Imagine you see two strings hanging from a ceiling, but they're too far apart to grab both at the same time. On a table nearby, there's a pair of pliers. So how do you tie the two strings together? Go on, take a second to think about it. Did you get it? The solution, as you can see, means you have to overcome what psychologists call functional fixedness. You have to stop seeing the pliers as just a tool for grabbing things and see them in a new way, as a weight. You tie them to one string, create a pendulum, swing it, and then you can easily catch it. The key takeaway here is that solving new problems often means we have to think way outside the box about the tools we've got. Okay, so another major bug in our software is something called loss aversion. This is our deep-seated, gut-level tendency to feel the pain of a loss way more intensely than the pleasure of an equal gain. This chart shows it perfectly. Psychologically, losing $10 feels about twice as bad as finding $10 feels good. This bias messes with everything, from our financial decisions to why we might be scared to risk our B+ in a class for a shot at an A-. The fear of dropping to a C is just too strong. And then, of course, there's confirmation bias. We humans have this pesky habit of actively looking for information that supports what we already believe, and we tend to ignore or dismiss any evidence that challenges us. It's a mental shortcut that can trap us in a little echo chamber if we're not careful. So, if thinking is our software, what about the hardware it's running on? Well, that brings us to intelligence, the underlying processing power of our minds. So what exactly is intelligence? Well, at its core, you can think of it as a general, all-purpose ability. It's basically how well we handle cognitive tasks, solve brand new problems, and, this is the crucial part, learn from our experiences so we can do better the next time. Now, here's a fascinating question. Are we, as a species, actually getting smarter over time? This chart shows something called the Flynn effect, which reveals that average IQ scores have been rising steadily for decades. Now, this can't be because our genes are changing that fast. Instead, it really points to the powerful role of our environment, things like better nutrition, and especially rising levels of education all around the world. Okay, so we've got the software of thinking and the hardware of intelligence. But how do we link them all up? How do we share ideas and collaborate on massive problems like, say, a global pandemic? The answer is language. It's the ultimate network. Every single human language is built on just a few basic rule systems, rules for sounds, for words, for sentence structure,
And these rules give us something incredible called infinite generativity. It's the ability to create a literally endless number of meaningful sentences from just a small set of building blocks. It's kind of like linguistic Legos.
And that's the whole point. Language was the game-changing evolutionary tool that allowed early humans to go beyond just pointing and grunting. It let us coordinate, plan, and share complex knowledge across generations. It's the reason thousands of scientists all over the world can collaborate and build on each other's work to create something like a vaccine.
All right, so we've seen how these cognitive tools can help solve massive global crises. But how does this apply to our own daily lives? Let's bring it all back home and look at the connection between how we think and our own personal well-being.
Think about this. What makes something stressful isn't just the event itself, it's how we interpret it. This is called cognitive appraisal. So we can look at a tough situation, like a big exam, and see it as a threat, which leads to anxiety and distress. Or we can appraise that exact same event as a challenge, an opportunity to learn and grow.
And here's the best part. We actually have the power to change our first reaction. Cognitive reappraisal is the active process of taking a step back and intentionally reinterpreting an event. It's like a problem-solving strategy for your own emotions. It lets you regulate how you feel, simply by changing how you think about it.
From developing a vaccine that saves the world to just managing our own daily stress, the tools of the human mind are unbelievably powerful. So that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Think about your own life. What is one thing right now that you see as a threat that you could, with a little bit of effort, start to see as a challenge?